All right. So, I mean, look at that. Y'all see that, right? Look at those dates. What year did the Queen become the Queen? In the 1950s. Look how young these independent countries are in Africa. Just look how young. Why did it take them this long to be independent? Can we make a connection to that? Why? And when they were independent, was it honored?
King Charles III making his way to a British Air Force base to board a plane. He'll head to Scotland. That is where his mother's coffin was transported on Sunday. We do have a crew overseas right now following everything happening with all these remembrance events.
So let's get straight to Local 10's news anchor, Nicole Perez. She is live in London with more on the somber ceremonies. Nicole.
Well, the King starting his day here at the House of Parliament right behind me. It's his first visit as monarch. The House of Commons and the House of Lords offering their condolences, and then the King will go on to make his remark. Large crowds gathering just to get a glimpse of him, taking photos, cheering, applause. And just a few minutes ago, we got a chance to watch him leave. So you can see him inside his car along with the King consort by his side. The crowds really going wild, cheering and clapping for their new monarch. Inside Windsor Hall, where he made his way, the Speaker of the House of Commons offers their condolences, the King receiving them and then going on to make his remark.
This vow she kept with unsurpassed devotion. She set an example of selfless duty, which, with God's help and your counsels, I am resolved faithfully to follow.
This morning, Britain's new king and queen consort meeting with members of parliament at Westminster Hall before traveling back to Scotland, joining other members of the royal family for a procession to St. Giles Cathedral, where the Queen's coffin will lie in rest to allow the people of Scotland to pay their respects. The Queen's final journey beginning on Sunday, her casket draped in the Scottish royal standard, adorned with a wreath of her favorite flowers, leaving her beloved Balmoral estate and taking the long road towards Edinburgh.
Just important to say goodbye. She's been on the throne for a long time. So, yeah, it means a lot.
Across the Scottish countryside, thousands lining the way to say goodbye.
She loved Ballater, she loved Royal Deeside, and we loved her as well.
Some even throwing flowers as the hearse drove by. In some places, farmers showing up with an honor guard of tractors.
It was the farming community doing their part to show their appreciation for what she'd done for agriculture.
Later down the road, a dozen horses paying tribute to the Queen, an equestrian in her younger years.
I wanted to bring that up to show just, the perspective of people that actually cared about the Queen and all this stuff. And, their country lost their monarch and all this stuff. And I get that. I get, that people have a different perspective about the Queen and her rule and how she ruled. And look, a lot of people will make these arguments. Okay, she doesn't have that much power that her predecessors, her family that literally carved up the world had. Does not give her an excuse for being unapologetic with the colonialism that her family thrived off of. They said that she was a good ally, very friendly to African countries that are young in their independence, mind you. Their independence as a country and gathering as a country is as long as her reign. And I think about the issues, two things that come to mind: South Africa and Ghana. Ghana became independent around time when she first became queen. This was under the socialist president. This is why people need to read their history, because they only think socialism is an Eastern thing when it really isn't. There's a lot of socialist leaders that have made a lot of changes in the world, and Ghana became independent because of Kwame leadership. and she went there to dance with him and try to sway him from the internal relationship between the USR and him. Now, here's the thing about that. Yeah, you build this friendship, you build a bond, but when Ghana needed help, where was the British? Nowhere. The British were nowhere. They stayed silent. She didn't even help them out. Same thing with South Africa. Same thing. You know who actually helped South Africa liberate its people? You can look it up in the history books. It was Cuba. Fidel Castro and Mandela had a very, very strong relationship. So this is why I get confused about this whitewashing. She just was always on standby 24/7. You know, she outlived 15 prime ministers, and they all were assholes. The British literally, their wealth is off of stolen resources, stolen gold, stolen treasures from different countries, sovereign nations that have been colonized and destroyed. India, look at Ireland. You think Ireland cares about this? And look, and I understand she had a connection to Scotland, but let's be honest. Scotland is trying to be independent as well too. Scotland does not want to be part of the UK as well too. So why can't they talk about this? Why can't they talk about this? They talk about this a lot. Let's show you in what I like to call one of my favorite places to ever look on, Black Twitter. And Irish Twitter was going sick. Indian Twitter was going sick too. They were all going sick because look, here's the issue. The only people that you saw that actually really like want to overlook colonialism, let's just be honest, it's white people. White people overlook colonialism. And it's not all white people, because I mentioned how Ireland feels and also mentioned how Scotland feels. But for some reason, whenever a colonizer died, it is a time to be nice and forgiving and understanding. But it's like all the atrocities, and we can name a lot of atrocities. We could name a lot of atrocities that the UK is a part of now, while Queen Elizabeth was in charge, before she was in charge. This colonialist game has not just, ended. It's it's evolving. It's changing. And people are seeing her. Look at this. If you're white and you wonder why Black Twitter is on some totally different shit, just look at the map of Africa and when countries gained their freedom from European colonization. The math isn't that hard. All right, so look at that. Y'all see that, right? Look at those dates. What year did the Queen become the Queen? In the 1950s. Look how young these independent countries are in Africa. Just look how young. Why did it take them this long to be independent? Can we make a connection to that? Why? And when they were independent, was it honored? Ask Burkina Faso that. When they lost Thomas Sankara in the 80s. Ask Lumumba that. When he was also a socialist president that liberated Congo, and he was murdered brutally because of that. The dude didn't even have a body when they were done with him. They dipped him in acid. Look at this. Look. I just saw a list of 22 countries who were never claimed as part of the British Empire. Yeah, and the other 30 were divided between the rest of Europe. Look, do we have to drop these facts? Do we have to drop these facts about how monarchs should not be celebrated? Like, somebody tell me if I'm wrong, if I'm missing something, if I'm being insensitive, because the little man, the colonized never get any kind of respect. You do realize we're talking about the lives of millions of people, right? I just want you to understand that between the UK and the US alone, we're talking about the lives of at least millions of people. It's not thousands, it's not hundreds. We're talking about these people are being literally their lives being altered, being displaced, losing wealth, being exploited. You cannot blame China for trying to build infrastructure and forgive loans until you fully understand what the West has done to Black and brown nations. And that is the disconnect I'm seeing, especially being an American. And I'm seeing white Americans. I haven't seen a Black person yet feel bad that the Queen is dead. And I think it's okay to not care when colonizers die. I think it's perfectly fine. Hey, I'm over here waiting for Kitchener to croak her incest ass family. She still did nothing. She still was unapologetic, wearing all that stolen shit, literally living off the tax dollars of the working class of the UK. If you really felt bad, you will give that shit up. Mansa Musa, for instance, literally went all through Africa and distributed out his wealth. I want you to see if the UK would do that. Oh no, their oil prices and shit is up to 80%. You think King Charles III is going to do any better? Yeah, okay. The proletariat is suffering right now, and we're worrying about these bitch ass monarchs. Are they going to be okay? How are they? The lady that was crying, how much debt is she in? And she over here crying about monarchs. Y'all just got Liz Truss. I think that's how you say her name. Y'all just got Liz Truss in the goddamn parliament as a prime minister. And she's already talking about fucking shit up with Ukraine. She ain't saying nothing really about what she wants to do for the UK, the working class. The focus is always not on the working class. The focus is always about this glamorous bullshit with being a princess. And you're American. To Americans, I thought that we were supposed to defend the little democracy that we have here. But if you support capitalism, how the fuck you support monarchs? They gained their wealth off of killing and genocide. But I and other people like me, like the Nigerian sister that is a professor at one of the prestige colleges of the UK. She's an asshole because she, coming from Nigeria, who was colonized by the Queen and her predecessors, she's an asshole because she said fuck the Queen and I hope they die a painful death. Wow, that's rude. Jeff Bezos is an asshole for calling out a Black woman for sharing her pain. Everyone that disagrees with what that woman said is an asshole. And they are ignorant and biased because they do not want to look at the truth. And the truth of the matter is that it's really not all glitz and glamour and beautiful movie spotlights that the movies try to portray of what it's like to be rich and successful and a monarch, whatever it may be. The real truth is that you got to shed blood. All that fucking wealth taken from other people, from the backs of the proletariat. This is what they glorify. We are still glorifying colonialism. So when I hear people say, oh, decolonize, and then they're like, oh, I'm so sad the Queen died. Shut the fuck up. You just contradicted yourself. No one should be out here just like, I mean, it's just ridiculous how they're whitewashing this. They're really trying to make her seem like she was a saint, but she wasn't. And there's a lot of examples out there that showed how she doubled down on. I mean, dude, she literally was giving rewards to war criminals. She knighted people that were a part of genocide in the Afghan war and part of genocide in Iraq. And dude, y'all gotta stop. Just please. That's my closing remark. This whitewashing of colonizers has to end. But thank you for listening to me, and have a nice day.
I appreciate what you do because I do believe that the work that you're doing, and so folks watching and listening, please support Jamar, because he and others like him are the linkage that allows all those parts of the body to communicate with each other, to interact with each other, to link with one another. Without this communication piece, we're just all doing our things separately. And so please support this platform, other platforms, other people like Jamar who are doing this work, because that's what we need to move this movement forward, grow it, build it, and eventually win.